Well, it's back to electric kiln firing because it's cold and we have a nor'easter outside. So bye bye gas kiln for probably another 5-6 months, and a whole new technology. You have to remember where you were this time last year, and because it's easy to forget the gas kiln type of firings and things. You write everything down, but there's intuition and everything in it. Electric kilns are much more reliable and easier to fire, and you get very generally pretty much the same results when you glaze in a certain way and stuff. So there should be less damage, cracks, and I don't get many of those anyway, but I do get glaze runs quite a bit. Gas kiln is so big and it varies from area to area, whereas electric kiln is pretty consistent. So let's see what we had. This was my first electric kiln firing of the coming season. Everything becomes a little glossier, a little brighter, as I said, more consistent. The one thing I kind of always get disappointed with is the mouse gray isn't as nice. It loves the electric kiln. It always comes out matter and a little bit more sort of crystally. To get that in an electric kiln, you have to slow the kiln firing, cooling down a lot. Do I have one? Yes, I do have it's not too bad. And the way I compensate for the mouse gray looking a little more shiny is I use more oatmeal over it. And so there you go. So it actually resembles what it looks like in the gas kiln when it's just on its own. But I just use my oatmeal, and this one has the white oatmeal over it as well. I have like 4 or 5 oatmeals, but there you go. That's pretty nice as a base glaze there, mouse gray back. So that's the one that I'm always kind of skeptical it will look nice, and it did look great. This generally looks the same. I'm going to need, there you go, I'm going to need my pliers probably. This was the blue-green copper red with my yellow oatmeal over the top. I cut my finger on the stilt. Got to be careful when you take these off. If you can see close up, there's a little sharp bit of glaze that stays on them, and that's a razor blade. That's how sharp that is, and I just pulled it off and caught my finger on it as I was doing it. It's only a little cut anyway. Where you risk cutting your finger, you should tap them with something heavy like that, and then they come off easy. Anyway, this is the other hotel I make these mugs for, White Point, and all that. So this is variegated blue with bright blue and oatmeal dipped over the top. This is the floating blue with variegated blue and oatmeal over the top. These glazes are in Mastering Cone 6 glazes. Variegated blue, the oatmeal isn't, that's in one of my videos. You can find the recipe in that video on oatmeal glazes. But variegated blue and floating blue are both in Mastering Cone 6 glazes. Blue, green, copper, red is actually one I got out of Pinterest with my yellow oatmeal over the top. Did that show up or did it run in? You can barely read the writing on that one. I'll probably fire this one upside down to get rid of that, because the writing got covered up slowly. I put a stilt on the inside on a little kiln prop. It's one of my bottles for my chicken roasters. This is a lid for an urn a man is having me make for a dog that passed away and all that. So that's the lid for it. I wondered why I should probably put a dog on there, but he wanted a whale. There must be a reason for that. That's interesting. I wonder what glaze that was. I think that was variegated blue, and look how green it went. See, this is how, just knock them off like that instead of trying to pull them off, and then you won't cut your finger. That's the mouse gray, and that turned out really nice. I guessed and I put the oatmeal over it. I did good. Now, this one is a folk art white glaze that I add tin oxide, iron ochre, and a bit of ilmenite to it to give you that speckle, but also warm it up a little bit. Instead of being white, it's now a cream, which I really like with my green that I dipped on the rim. Is that Poubelle? Well, Poubelle is back. She's meowing at me. She, I've posted a couple of updates about her. She got really sick. She has what they call an autoimmune disease. Certain foods, she's on a special food diet now. So it's way under control now, but she was not healthy. I was feeding her just regular cat foods that they love, of course, you know, the normal ones you buy in the supermarket. This, holy mackerel. This is my dark blue. And isn't that black? It is actually blacker than my licorice glaze. And that's only 2% cobalt oxide. But that is now, and with a little oatmeal on the rim just to give it a little, well, it almost looks like devitrification, which means crystallizing out. But that is my black, which is actually my blue. That's a surprise. It's also over the iron clay, which darkens everything, and that's the clay that Laguna number 80 that I use for ovenware pieces. That still came off easy. Mouse gray with my oatmeal over it. That is very pretty. Looks like stone. This is my regular oatmeal, but I'm not sure. It's got the green on it too. That's one of my regular oatmeals anyway. Just so hard to remember what all these oatmeals. My favorite from that video was Folk Art White. When I was developing the oatmeal glazes. It just is a really smooth, buttery cream rather than a white. And there you go, that's the actual bottle that goes in the chicken roaster there. Another one of the bottles. I am selling there's the dark blue over white clay. All right, and that also has my variegated blue dipped over the top and green on the bottom. And these are selling really well at the moment because everybody's using sanitizer. So I can't even keep up with these practically. This is the floating blue from the book with variegated blue over the top. This is my scrap blue glaze. This is a glaze that I've been throwing stuff in, slops from the wiping bucket that I use when I'm glazing, I added some cobalt to it to see what it would do, and it comes out like this, which isn't unsatisfactory at all. I have lots of that glaze. Tenmoku gold with variegated blue, I think, over the top. Variegated blue on the bottom for sure. So oops. Tenmoku gold with blue and variegated blue over it. And it's running again on the handle again, which I always seem to get, which I just grind that down a touch. Bright blue, variegated blue, and maybe some oatmeal over the top of that one. my new dark blue, and it looks like I did variegated blue over the top of that one too, unless it's the bright blue, and then there's the apple green on the bottom. But yeah, I have a lot of I have 24 of those made, going through this little kiln firing system. I think we're going to be seeing sanitizer for many years to come, so that one ran down. So I am going to thin my blue, green, copper, red down a lot, because it seems to be too thick at the moment. I'll fire these upside down anyway. This is another little roasting dish in that red clay, number 80. I made a little set of 4 of these. I've done these, the Icelandic dishes. I just posted a video on my plates, and I decided to make some plain bowls to see whether they would be more preferable to the bowls that I've done with the pattern going across the inside, because a lot of people just like a plain inside to a bowl. So I've got a set of 4 of these to put right next to my little dinner set when I put that out, because that's the same color as the river going across the actual Icelandic pieces. This is the roasting bottle for the dish that's blue but came out black. I will be thinning my glazes down a bit though, because I think they have started to run a little bit. That means they're too thick on the first dip. But variegated blue and oatmeal over the top of Tenbaku gold. There's some little flecks in there where you can see, but not much, because this kiln cools faster. I have to slow the firing down to get that gold to come out. And the Tenbaku gold, if you just look on the bottom there, is really nice to sign on, because the lettering comes from the black underglaze, comes out gold and all that. So and that's the same one there. See how it's nice? It actually is still readable, but it comes out slightly gold. Bright blue, variegated blue, and oatmeal. The variegated blue is not a good glaze to sign on the bottom, but I do sometimes. You can barely see the signature underneath. It's there, but I should stop using it as an undercoat glaze. And also, the stilts never remove easy. The oatmeal is the best. I'll just start using that more. But that's the mouse grey with the oatmeal over it. And bright blue, oatmeal, variegated blue and oatmeal. And all that. And then I did do the Tenbaku gold on the underside. So yeah, that is definitely nice. And I know my name, but I can read it. It says La Have, Nova Scotia, so people can find me. And that's the main thing. If you have a pottery, advertising is hugely expensive. I tried to do one ad once in a paper. It's going to be $1,100. I just go with word of mouth, and now with YouTube, of course. But having your name on the bottom of pieces, you know, a lot of people look down on doing it, but I think people can find you. You know, search the internet for Vaughan Smith. You'll probably find me as a potter. But anyway, and if they see my name on the bottom of a piece and say La Have, Nova Scotia, that's even easier to find me. All right. Well, business is a whole other video. Boy, maybe that would be a whole series of videos. Setting up a pottery business. Well, I've done it several times. But anyway, all right, I'll talk to you in the next video, which will be a little video I'm doing at the moment. I'm not sure. I won't give any hints about it. All right, okay, thanks very much. Bye.